Leviticus 14. The Lord spoke to Moses, "This is the law of the diseased person on the day of his purification. When he is brought to the priest is to go outside the camp and examine the infection. If the infection of the diseased person has been healed, the priest will command that two live clean birds, a piece of cedarwood and a scrap of crimson fabric, and some twigs of hyssop be taken up to the one being cleansed. The priest will then command that one bird be slaughtered into a clay vessel over fresh water. Then he is to take the live bird along with the piece of cedarwood, the scrap of crimson fabric, and the twig of hyssop, and he is to dip them and the live bird in the blood of the bird slaughtered over the fresh water, and sprinkle it 7 times on the one being cleansed from the disease, pronouncing him clean, and send the live bird away over the open countryside. So, weird ritual here. The bird is going into it, the fabric is going in, the twig of the hyssop is going in. I'm not sure where the crimson fabric comes in, but you are sprinkling it on the person so that they are now clean, and releasing the bird that is going away into the countryside. So, kind of weird ritual. Not sure exactly everything that's going on because I can't figure out exactly what happens to the crimson fabric. Is that to go on the person? Is that to help with the spreading of it? Is that what you're tying around the bird? I don't know. Well, the twig of hyssop, I can see that would be used for doing the dipping and the splashing. But 7 times is it, so it's totality there of the one being cleansed from the disease, pronouncing him clean, and sending the live bird away. So that's what we have. This is how you get cleaned. You get cleansed. The one being cleansed must then wash his clothes, shave off his hair, and bathe in water, and so be clean. Okay, so I did point out earlier, it said wash your clothes. It did not say that there was anything in regard to him washing himself. Now we have further instructions on that. So, washing your clothes, shaving off your hair, bathing in water, and then you'll be clean. So you're shaving off all of your hair. I don't know if this includes beard as well or not. Send me a DM on that if you want to send me a hat. Send me a DM. We'll talk on that. Then afterward, he may enter the camp, but he must live outside his tent 7 days. So you can come back in the camp, but you're living outside your tent. You're not going into your tent. When the 7th day comes, he must shave all his hair, his head, his beard, his eyebrows, all his hair, and he must wash his clothes, bathe his body in water, and so be clean. So, just like we had in the checking to see if you are, the disease you're quarantined for 7 days, you come back, we check after 7 days. So, you are washing, you're shaving, and here it specifies absolutely everything. Your beard, your eyebrows, all his hair. You're shaving your hair. So, you sleep outside your tent for 7 days. You can come back into camp now. You could be around people now. And then you're going to do it again. You don't do the ceremony again. You just do the shaving and the washing again. And now you are clean. On the 8th day, he must take 2 flawless male lambs, 1 flawless yearling female lamb, 3/10 of an ephah of choice wheat flour as a grain offering mixed with olive oil, and 1 log of olive oil. And the priest who pronounces him clean will have the man who is being cleansed stand along with these offerings before the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. So you have a ritual that's done with 2 birds. Now you are bringing 2 flawless male lambs, 1 flawless yearling female lamb. So you're having 3 lambs. You are having 3/10 of an ephah of wheat, which is mixed with olive oil, and 1 log of olive oil. And the priest is going to pronounce you clean. You come and you make these offerings at the tent of meeting. The priest is to take 1 male lamb and present it for a guilt offering, along with the log of olive oil, and present them as a wave offering before the Lord. So, again, the wave offering is just part of the process that you wave it. That's all that we have with the wave offering. It may still be burnt. It may be part that you just wave and then it's done. But either way, that's what we have going on. So we have the wave offering. That's part that's being waved before God. He must then slaughter the male lamb in the place where the sin offering and the burnt offering are slaughtered in the sanctuary, because like the sin offering, the guilt offering belongs to the priest. It is most holy. So he's offering these things at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest is offering the things. Then the priest is to take some of the blood of the guilt offering and put it on the right earlobe of the one cleansed, and on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the foot. So this is interesting. This is one of the things that is anointing the priest. Remember, we had this when the priests were anointed. We had some of the blood that was put on the ear, on the thumb, and on the big toe to set them apart, to make them sanctified for the work that they were going to do as a priest. Now, an unclean person is having the same procedure placed upon them to restore them to their place in community. The priest will then take some of the log of olive oil and pour it into his own left hand. Then the priest is to dip his right forefinger in the olive oil that is in the left hand. The priest will then put some of the rest of the olive oil that is on his hand on the right earlobe of the one being cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, on the big toe of his right foot, on the blood of the guilt offering, and on the remainder of the olive oil that is in his hand. The priest is to put on the head of the one being cleansed. So the priest is to make atonement for him before the Lord. So atonement is a process of restoring things, so making things all back to restored. So this is kind of cool. So you have the thing that the priests do. Now you have an additional thing. We're doing this with olive oil as well. We're giving some to the Lord. We're now anointing the person. Whatever ends up left in the hand, boom, you're anointed. You are anointed on your head. And now you are going to be able to join back into community. This was I would think this would be a beautiful ritual to see someone who has been unclean be able to go through. The priest must then perform the sin offering and make atonement for the one being cleansed from his impurity. So we have a sacrifice, we have something we do. We have a sacrifice, we have something we do. Now we have another sacrifice. We already had the thing that happened, a ceremony outside of the community. Now we're having one that's happening in community, in the tent, in the place of worship. So after that, he is to slaughter the burnt offering, and the priest is to offer the burnt offering and the grain offering on the altar. So the priest is to make atonement for him, and he will be cleaned. If the person is poor and he does not have sufficient means, he must take 1 male lamb as a guilt offering for a wave offering to make atonement for himself, and 1/10 of an ephod of choice wheat flour mixed with olive oil for a grain offering, a log of olive oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, which are within his means. One will be for the sin offering and the other for the burnt offering. So we lower the amount of flour from 3/10 to 1/10. So we divide that by a third. And instead of the male lambs and the female lamb and having 3 lambs, we substitute 2 birds for 2 lambs. We substitute 2 birds for 2 lambs, but we still need to have a lamb. Now, think about this for a minute. If you are unclean, and that's been an ongoing thing for years, like, you're not going to have the means to make the offerings here. You're not going to necessarily have the means for that. It would just be a matter of your family having to provide these for you. to bring you back into community. Okay. On the 8th day, he must bring them for his purification to the priest at the entrance of the meeting tent before the Lord. And the priest is to take the male lamb of the guilt offering and the log of olive oil and wave them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he is to slaughter the male lamb of the guilt offering, and the priest is to take some of the blood of the guilt offering and put it on the right earlobe of the one being cleansed, and on the thumb of the right hand and the big toe of the right foot. So again, this all sounds the same. The priest will then pour some of the olive oil in his own left hand and sprinkle some of the olive oil that is in his left hand with his right forefinger 7 times before the Lord. Then the priest is to pour some of the olive oil that is in his hand on the right earlobe, or put, not pour, the right earlobe of the one being cleansed on the thumb of the right hand and the big toe of the right foot on the place of the blood of the guilt offering. And the remainder of the olive oil in his hand of the priest to be put on the head of the one being cleansed to make atonement for him before God. He will then make one of the turtle doves or young pigeons, which are within his means, a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering, along with the grain offering. So the priest is to make atonement for the one being cleansed before the Lord. This is the law of the one in whom there is a disease infection, who does not have sufficient means for his purification. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, when you enter the land of Canaan. So those are the rules which are for now and moving forward, but we're going to have and need some new rules when we get into the land. When you enter the land of Canaan, which I am about to give you for a possession, and I put a diseased infection in a house in the land you are to possess, then whoever owns the house must come and declare to the priest, something like an infection is visible to me in the house. So you got to come declare to the priest, something like an infection is visible to me in the house. Then the priest will command the house to be cleared before the priest enters to examine the infection, so that everything in the house does not become unclean. So you remove all your possessions, everything comes out of the suspected unclean house, so that the priest can go examine the house. If you see something, say something. Origin story, yes. And afterwards, the priest will enter and examine the house. He is to examine the infection, and if the infection in the walls of the house consists of yellowish, greenish, or reddish eruptions, and it appears to be deeper than the surface of the wall, then the priest is to go out of the house to the doorway of the house and quarantine the house for 7 days. The priest must return on the 7th day and examine it, and if if the infection has spread in the walls of the house, then the priest is to command that the stones that have the infection in them be pulled and thrown outside the city into an unclean place. So, yeah, this chapter is making your skin itchy, yes. Shadow Tuner, hey. So we're going to tear out the stones. So just like we had the article of clothing where you would examine it, wait, take it apart, take the piece out, and then see what happens. So this is going outside the city. The stones are going outside the city. Then they shall scrape the house all around the inside, and the plaster which they have scraped off must be dumped outside the city into an unclean place. Then they are to take other stones and replace the stones, and he is to take other plaster and replaster the house. Okay, so interesting. Sounds like we're not doing put new stones in and wait and see if the infection spreads. We're taking the stones out, we're replacing them, we're taking the plaster out, we're replacing it. If if the infection returns and breaks out in the house after he has pulled out stones, scraped the house, and it replastered, the priest is to come and examine it, and if the infection has spread in the house, it is a malignant disease in the house, it is unclean. He must tear down the house, its stones, its wood, and all the plaster in the house, and take all of it outside the city to an unclean place. Anyone who enters the house all the days the priest has quarantined it will be unclean until evening. Anyone who lies down in the house must wash his clothes. Anyone who eats in the house must wash his clothes. So, if you went into the house, you've got to take care of making yourself clean. You've got to be quarantined. Anybody who went, we're getting rid of it. This house is a problem. It's got to go. If, however, the priest enters and examines it, and the infection has not spread in the house after the house has been replastered, then the priest has pronounced the house clean because the infection has been healed. Then he is to take 2 birds and a piece of cedarwood, a scrap of crimson fabric, and some twigs of hyssop to purify the house. So just like we purified before, when you're going to be, you were unclean and you are going to come back in. So we're going to have a very similar thing, I think. Let's see what happens. He's to slaughter 1 bird in a clay vessel over fresh water. He must then take the piece of cedar wood, the twigs of hyssop, the scrap of crimson fabric, and the live bird, and dip them in the blood of the slaughtered bird and in the fresh water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. So what I'm not sure here, like we had this over the person, is this, let's just think about this as one at a time. So do I take the cedar wood and then I dip it in and I sprinkle it on the house? And then I take the twig of hyssop and I sprinkle it on the house. And then I take the scrap of crimson fabric and I sprinkle it on the house. And I take the live bird and I sprinkle it. I mean, is that what it is? Because the thing is, there's a list of things and then there's the action. And I'm not sure which fills in with the action, but maybe that's it. Maybe that's what they're doing. And we had this for the person earlier. So the same thing happening, but here, purification of the house. So he is to purify the house with the blood of the bird, the fresh water, the live bird, the piece of wood cedar, the twigs of hyssop, and the scrap of crimson fabric. And he is to send the live bird away outside the city into the open countryside. So he is to make atonement for the house, and it will be clean. So notice here, making atonement can happen for things. Atonement is not just for people. Restoring things to their proper position, their proper place, their proper relationship. The house is now being restored. If it's clean, it can be restored. If it's not clean, it's destroyed. This is a law for all the diseased infections, for skull, for the diseased garments, for the house, for the swelling, for the scab, for the bright spots, to teach when something is unclean and when it is clean. This is the law for dealing with infectious diseases. All right, there we go.